Joe Hopkins here, and yeah, thought I'd give a little rant and have a beer with you guys. I'm gonna have one. You guys if you want, go get a beer or drink of your choice and have one with me. So the title there, music is more and less commercial than ever. Kind of an interesting statement, but I wanted to rant about it and give you guys my thoughts, right? Back when I was young, you bought music in a store, listened to it on the radio, and you really, as a musician, didn't get terribly far without a record deal with some kind of industrial sort of thing there, you know, a major record label or even an independent label or somebody, at least a distribution deal, something like that, right? So that's the way it was. And then some things changed. Mostly YouTube, and then streaming, Spotify, Apple Music, all this stuff. Home recording got affordable. Like, it's cheap now. You can record at home. So now everybody who used to just, you know, write songs, do their best in the music scene, play the club circuit, maybe foot the money themselves to do a limited release, kind of small-time album thing, you know, hire, go to a studio, spend money, their own money to do it, or eventually get a record deal. Yeah, you don't do that anymore. You record at home. If you have a fraction of the money that it used to cost to record an album in a studio, you can buy the equipment to record everything you want at home and to spend as much time on it as you want. So people do. Everybody's a producer. Every musician is now also a producer. And we're all independent labels now too. We release our own music. We put it out ourselves. We put it on YouTube. We release it on Spotify. We put it out there in the world for people to consume. And the interesting thing with that, music has gotten less commercial because you don't have to please the record company. You don't have one. You don't have to do what the A&R guy says. You don't have to be commercial. So the days of having to get a record deal are over, right? Unfortunately, one good thing that came out of the whole commercialization of music over the years was all of the very anti-commercial bands, right? Punk rock and alternative rock and a lot of that stuff. A lot of bands thumbing their nose at the system, saying, you know, fuck you, we'll do it our own way, right? Well, you don't have that anymore so much because, well, you do get to do it your own way. With less commercialism, well, you have a lot less of the angry attitude stuff. That's unfortunate because, you know, that brought us a lot of really good music. A lot of really good rock and roll came out of going in the opposite direction of the music industry in an angry punk rock kind of way, right? I like that stuff. But yeah, now there's hardly any commercialism if you don't want there to be. Everybody can just do what they want. You don't have to have somebody telling you what to do. But music is also more commercial than ever. And this also gets in the way of thumbing your nose at the system because guess what? Now you're the system. Now everybody's trying to make it on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and trying to come up with songs that will go viral, and everybody is their own A&R guy and everybody is their own promoter. And it's made everybody look at being commercial different. It used to be this angry thing about, oh, those guys, they're selling out. They sold out, right? Now that's the goal. Everybody's goal is to sell out. I don't know what the problem with selling out was before. I mean, being commercially successful, nothing wrong with that. But now you're selling yourself out. The upside is nobody's pimping you. You're pimping you. The downside is now you have to figure out how to be commercially successful. right? That used to be a separate thing. You're a musician. You write songs. You play you play the music. You write the music. You perform the music, and somebody else has to worry about the recording, making it sound good, promoting it, getting it on the radio, putting it in front of people, getting people to listen. Right? That is one of the jobs that the record companies used to do. They don't now. They want people with a solid social media following so that they don't have to do that. They've cheaped out on that whole end. But now that's your job. That's totally your job. You have to have a social media following. The crazy thing is, and I think this is why record companies sign, the major labels anyway, sign so many fewer artists than they used to, is because by the time you get to the point where you're attracting the attention of the record companies, you're already at the point where you're kind of doing it on your own to a degree, you know? I think hip-hop started doing that first. They were doing that early on, producing their own music, starting their own labels, promoting their own stuff. You saw hip-hop acts doing that in the 90s and early 2000s, even before streaming and all that. How can we do this on our own? You know? But now, everybody does it on their own. So you can't rage against the machine when you are the machine. It kind of changes the attitude toward the industry because we've become the industry. I mean, the industry still has its hand in things. It's why streaming pays so little per spin compared to radio, because radio, those rules were made up a long time ago, before radio got really big and before the music industry got really big. With streaming, hell, the industry kind of raged against it for a while, got angry about it, tried to do something about it, and then bought into it. And since they got in early enough, they got to make the rules, which means you get played on the radio, it's 10 cents a spin. You get played on Spotify, it's like a fraction of a cent a spin, you know? But aside from that, we are the industry now. We're recording our own music, we're releasing it, we're promoting it, we're doing it all ourselves, which means that we have a different attitude these days about commercialism. Instead of having the luxury of being upset about how our label is handling our promotion, well, we're handling our promotion. We don't get to be upset at ourselves so much. We're trying to do it on our own now. Yeah, so we find ourselves more commercial than we've ever been, you know? Making the music is such an uncommercial process now, but we're getting a commercial mindset. Now we're thinking, will this song do well on TikTok? Will this play well on Instagram? We are our own boss, but that means we have to learn to be the boss, and people are doing it. They're doing quite well at it. They're doing quite well at learning how to promote their own stuff. Some people do. Some people stink at it, right? I wish I was better at it. I really do. I like my music. I think it's good. I think if, you know, it got a chance, it would do well. And I'm trying. I'm not a social media kind of guy. I should probably ask my daughter to run my social media, because at 9, she's better at it than I am. But, I mean, a new generation, she was raised with it, so she understands it a bit more than I do. But, yeah, so, I mean, we've democratized recording music, and now we've gone full circle back to being incredibly commercial, because there is money to be made at this. And we can see it if we can just appeal to this group or to that group. Or how do I go viral on one of these platforms? And here we are cranking it through our heads. How can I make it in this new paradigm, right? It used to be play the clubs, get noticed, and it's easy to go, well, the labels are a bunch of idiots, right? Because, well, they didn't sign me, right? But now I'm the label. I'm the label. I did it myself. So if it sucks, I can only blame me. Yeah, and it's a weird place to be. But it's good, too. We're no longer waiting around to get noticed, playing, you know, making the circuit, paying our dues, so to speak, trying to get noticed. Now we're paying our dues, trying to figure out how to promote what we do. And it's kind of a cool place to be. I don't dislike it, right? It's just different. It's new. Things change. And here we have this change, and it's a pretty cool change. I think it's kind of neat to be able to go through YouTube or Spotify and find people that maybe don't get a lot of attention who are really good. Ooh. You wouldn't have heard them before. You wouldn't have heard of them before unless you saw them play in a club, if they're local to you. Now, everybody's local to you. You can check out everybody. It's really kind of neat because there's a lot of really good music that isn't really blowing up, that isn't viral. And you also are in a situation where, as a musician, you get to figure out how can I make this popular? How can I get attention, right? It's fun. It's frustrating quite often. Very frustrating quite often. I find some of the people that get the most attention don't really make very good music, in my opinion, you know? I think some of that's because stuff that works well in a 30-second clip that goes viral isn't necessarily a good song, it's a good hook. And a lot of times I listen to the rest of the song and it's just disappointing, you know? It's getting millions of listens on Spotify and it's just not very good. It's good in a limited way, you know, which works. Yeah, if you're good at writing 30 seconds of a song, you can make it, right? So that's my opinion. I finished my beer and I gave my opinion in this nice little rant. And yeah, I hope you guys, a lot of you are musicians, I hope you can figure out how to be successful at this in the new paradigm. And I'd like to be successful too, so listen to my album. It's links below to streaming. And in a sec here, playlists come up. One of them says, I Didn't Get a Memory. That's my album. Give it a listen. It's on YouTube. You can listen to it for free on YouTube and see if you like it. And if you do, I don't know, listen on Spotify or something that pays me a penny. And yeah, or if you don't, whatever, you know, it's all good. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you guys. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.